Now, YouTube's pretty much engineered, I would say, in their mind, it seems a pretty foolproof way of isolating kiddies from adults. Now, I use the E word over there, and I want to just start talking a little bit. I know there's been some drama, and I want to kind of address things here really quickly.
Well, it looks like Mutahar finally decided to respond. Kinda. He put about a 2-minute-ish response in a 30-something minute video, totally going ahead and hiding it. Let's be realistic, Mutahar didn't want to put out a complete video on itself and address everything that was going on, but we're going to take a look at his response anyways, and we are going to see what we see.
So obviously, I have been calling myself an engineer, in some cases a programmer, a cybersecurity engineer, whatever you can call it. And, you know, I apparently have also been a dropout, which I don't hide.
So the first thing I want to go ahead and respond to is his whole apparently I've been a dropout. I mean, brother, you even in this video said that it's something that you don't hide. That makes literally no sense. What do you mean apparently you've been a dropout? Now, you might look at this and be like, Kmplxity, that's such a crazy thing to go ahead and nitpick. Well, considering he made a, I don't know, less than 2-minute response to the entirety of this, we're gonna break every piece of it down, okay? Secondly, I'd like to go ahead and say that he has been saying it. You don't even acknowledge the fact that you've been saying it for so long, so many different times, over and over and over again, over the span of a decade. You simply say, so I've been calling myself this thing that I'm totally not and don't have a single degree in it, but I use it to bolster my claims anyways, and I used it to sell you guys stuff too. Don't forget, I lined my pockets with my possible knowledge in engineering, whether it's surface level or entry level, whichever one you want to choose. Don't really know. Maybe we'll get some actual engineers to start going over all the things that he said throughout his videos and see if anything else pops up.
Now, obviously, me being a dropout, I don't have a degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer. Now, I made a lot of videos in the past where I've taught you guys about computer safety, cybersecurity, a lot of this stuff, and I think that content stands up on its own. And I believe it actually can be used, you know, and people have learned from it, and I think that's great. Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged that I called myself an engineer while not being a degree-holding engineer, then for that I do apologize. And I will denigrate myself to, you know, I guess programmer or a fat Indian guy that knows a bit about computers. That's what I'll leave it at.
So instead of copying to the fact that you've continued to call yourself an engineer for the last decade or so in an effort to go ahead and bolster your claims and give you a point of authority in the eyes of all of your viewers, you decided that, hey, I don't have a degree, and, you know, maybe you guys learned some stuff from me, but that's cool. That's what it's all about, right? Dude, it's literally the same way as if I was to turn around and say, I'm a Marine, and go ahead and market myself as a Marine and teaching self-defense classes because of being a Marine. Now, the wonderful thing about this, obviously, is that I am an actual fucking Marine, but let's say I wasn't, and I was using my military status, or lack thereof, in an effort to continue to sell to people the idea that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to self-defense. Can I turn around and say, hey, there's people who probably learned something from me? Yeah, I probably could say that, but the problem with it all is that I would be utilizing credentials that I do not have in an effort to bolster my claim. Maybe there was people who would never have taken my class because I wasn't a Marine and I was just some random person teaching them to throw an elbow or to throw a jab. You completely neglect any self-reflection in this response, and it just turn around and say, well, you know, some people learn things, so it's all good.
And that's pretty much all I have to say. Now, again, if you want to stick around, awesome. If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then I don't really give a fuck. Simple as that.
Yes, we know you don't care, Mutahar, because as everybody has learned, you have no problem lying about things. You have no problem of being two-faced, spineless, and just not sticking to your word. Now, does this suffice as a sufficient response? Let's be realistic. To 90% of his viewers, probably. Hell, I'm willing to even say 98% of his viewers, most likely. To the rest of the YouTube community, more than likely everyone's gonna call him out for being a coward and stuffing this damn response into a 30-minute video. Honestly, for me, this doesn't suffice as a proper response. Hell, it barely even suffices as an actual response. Come on now, we all knew he wasn't going to address this in any way, shape, or form that would be satisfying. Let's be realistic. But what I can say is this is a very tactical PR move. Here he can be feigning the fact that he's taking accountability for it, and if anyone wants to turn around and say, hey, you never really responded to this, he can just point out to this less than 2-minute clip and turn around and say, yes, I did. I responded to it right here. Never gonna address any of the points made. Never gonna address the fact that he utilized calling himself an engineer in an effort to go ahead and bolster what it is that he was saying online, or why it is that he should be trusted with the things he was saying.
Now, again, that being said, if anything else comes out of this, whether there be some legal stuff, then I'll just let lawyers handle it and we'll call it at that. But that being said, I want to move forward, and that's pretty much the engineered response that I had to give. That being said, let's look even further into what's going on the other side of the world.
Oh, he said the thing! He said the thing! Okay, let's be realistic here. First and foremost, it seems like he's going ahead and acknowledging the fact that there's a potential for legal ramifications for this. Now, do I honestly think that anything huge would come of that, even if somebody was to go ahead and get on him for this? And by somebody, I mean the police. I honestly don't. Let's be realistic. I mean, as long as he has a clean record, I highly doubt that this is a very serious offense. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not Canadian and I don't know Canadian law, but what I do know is that he's able to feign some sort of ignorance in this situation. He has the ability to just be like, I apologize, da-da-da-da-da. But what I do imagine is going to happen, if that was to be the case, is more than likely he'd get a little slap on the wrist, maybe a fine or something like that. I highly doubt he would see any sort of jail time for this, but I could be wrong. Do I think he deserves jail time for this? Absolutely not. At worst, I imagine he'd probably just have to pay a fine, and I don't think there's anything much more to that. This is a very calculated response. Very smart of him to do this. Very PR, very Mutahar. Let's be realistic. I highly doubt we're going to be seeing any sort of acknowledgement about any of this in the future. But who knows? People are starting to dig. People might find something crazy. We might be covering Mutahar here again, but for right now, I'm Kmplxity, and I will see you in the next one.
From zero to hero.